Greetings, members, one and all of the Salivation Nation. Reddit investors drive silver prices up for a second day. The gold to silver ratio is now below 69. Let's explore. It is the winter of 69 and below. That's right. The gold to silver ratio has narrowed, but this is an artificial move because we are seeing in silver what GameStop has been seeing in the last couple of days here. And this is the second day. Several members of the community have sent me images from a Reddit post that they are targeting and driving up silver prices. And this is something that has been talked about, and I kind of dismissed it, but it is happening before our very eyes. Let's take a look at the numbers themselves and see exactly where the prices are right now. You can see that gold is up a little bit here, up $4.20, but silver is now above $27 an ounce. So it is climbed up fairly substantially here in the last couple of days, and this leaves the ratio of gold to silver below 69, and this is something that's unusual to see. And we haven't seen this to go below 70 for quite a while. I think it did get to 69 before last year when we saw the prices spike back up after a wide ratio back in March where people were running to the safety of cash. But now this artificial bubble here, just as we are seeing and have seen with GameStop, AMC, BlackBerry, and other stocks, well, it's happening here with silver. But this is something that's short-lived. It will calm down. I'm sure it will. I can't imagine that they're going to keep driving this price up because, as we see from a chart here, from this site here, that it's up here yesterday, and then it went down, kind of recovered a little bit, but it's been kind of pushing back and forth, and now it's kind of back up again here to $27 an ounce. Let's take a look at this article here from Bloomberg through Yahoo Finance about Reddit investors piling into silver that drive up the prices for the second day here. And the market remains in high alert after a call by Reddit posters to create a short squeeze sparked sharp moves on Thursday. And some people are speculating, hey, this could bring silver up to $100 or even $1,000. But I don't think so. We're not going to even see $100. In fact, I'd be very surprised if we saw $50 with this kind of activity. There's just so many different factors and drivers for something that's a commodity. This is not a company we're talking about, a singular unit, as I talked about in yesterday's video. Spot silver rose as much as 4.3% as prices resumed an earlier climb after dollar gains eased. Silver futures increased as much as 7.1% on the COMEX, and gold prices advanced. On Thursday, silver miners' shares spiked, and the largest silver exchange-traded fund, iShares Silver Trust, saw a frenzy of options buying after the market emerged as a target on the Reddit forum with Wall Street bets. And this is the screenshot of a post that several members of the community had sent me. The moves have been extreme in some cases and have had little fundamental justification, Eugene Weinberg, an analyst at Commerce Bank AG, said in a note. Retail investors who have been swapping tips on such information platforms have caused massive shifts in the prices of some shares, Weinberg said. We are confident that the influence of retail investors on silver will not last all that long. I tend to agree with that. And that ultimately industrial and institutional demand will be the key factor in the longer term. I think that sums it up right there. But in the short term, I would think people would be cautious about holding a short in precious metals, irrespective of the fundamental view what other markets are doing. said Marcus Garvey, head of metals and bulks commodity strategy at Macquarie Group Limited. Comments about the metals began appearing Wednesday on the investor board that's now famous for driving up GameStop Corporation shares last week. They centered on conspiracy theories long held by the fringes of the precious metals world, alleging that metals price is suppressed by banks and the government to mask inflation. Well, it's not just by the fringes. In fact, I'm pretty much one of the lone voices that doesn't believe it's happening, at least on a grand scale. But make no mistake, as I said in yesterday's video, I do believe in micro manipulation, which is kind of a term I've sort of coined, pun intended, which means that we have evidence and we've seen it. I've covered stories on it where for self-interest reasons, people within an organization, such as J.P. Morgan and others, will do spoofing calls and make manipulative moves to drive the price one way or the other in order to profit from silver. That's happened, and it's illegal, and they've been caught and charged, but it will probably is still happening at some level even to this day. But a cabal between different organizations to suppress the price of silver, I have not seen any evidence that that's happening. But the government itself, obviously, along with the Federal Reserve, which is a private institution, but nonetheless it is very political for sure. Presidents actually appoint the Fed chair, so it is essentially tied to the government, and they certainly are well in the business of affecting the dollar and its value, which in turn affects precious metals. So by proxy, I guess one can make the argument. But nonetheless, I don't think there's any kind of suppression by these big banks coming together to try to push the price of silver down, especially silver, but gold as well. But that's another subject. If there's another short squeeze, I think it will be fairly muted, said Jason Teed, Director of Research at Flexible Plan Investments. A short squeeze on a mid-cap stock with heavy short interest is one thing, but the commodity markets are extremely vast, which is what I said yesterday. Boom, exactly right. Spot silver rose to $27.15 an ounce just early this morning, or 11:50 a.m. I mean, early, right before noon in New York. Gold rose 0.8%, which means that the gold to silver ratio has widened. Let's take a look at this again. Again, this is going to be short-lived. People are all excited. I've not seen some of these videos, but people are talking $1,000 an ounce silver. And of course, I know that was kind of the posting was, and they could do it. It's a pipe dream. Not going to happen. Never going to happen. In fact, and I know one should never say never, but if I'm wrong, I'll eat crow on this. It won't even get to $100 an ounce, which I think is a ridiculous notion. I would eat crow if it got to there. If it got to $50 an ounce, I'd be super duper surprised. I think this is something, especially looking back, you can see. And I think this is natural market forces acting in part and parcel. And how a stock like GameStop stock can move one way or the other. You think about it, what is happening there? You have these investors, these day traders, essentially, a lot of them are, making these moves to try to squeeze out these shorts from these hedge funds managers and the like. It's sending a message that, yes, we the people can do something. But there's a way to do that too with silver, and they're trying it with silver. But the best way and the only way for this to sustain, in my view, is to buy the physical. A lot of these guys that got to go to LCSs or go on to APMEX or Monument Metals, Provident Metals, Bull Precious Metals, find a legitimate bullion dealer and buy yourself a 10-ounce bar, or go get a tube of Eagles or something like that. Yes, you're going to pay higher premiums, but that's the way you do it. And that's going to be much more sustainable, I feel, than to buy this paper markets, which is just going to go It's because it's going to eventually probably go the other way, especially if there's anything that's going to make the markets nervous. They're going to run to the safety of cash again, and silver is going to crash hard like it did in March of last year, maybe even take a bigger hit. But nonetheless, there's where it is. But this second day of this happening, there's not a lot of excitement. We've been at $27 silver before. We've been to $28 silver before. It almost got to $30 not that long ago. So, but they're making an effort at it. And I think that given the attention span of some of these investors, they're like, yeah, nothing to see here. And they're just going to just abandon it and move on. But that's not how you and I think. This silver bar here that you're looking at here has been through its paces. It's an older silver bar that's been around for quite a while. More than likely, when it was minted, silver was a lot less than it is now. It has passed through the hands. It's been toned, but it's worth a lot more now than it was back then, likely. And that's really what it's about. Silver is a long-term proposition, and for some people, they have to sell at a certain time in order to use money for needs, not wants, but for needs. And for those people, hopefully they've been in it long enough, they've dollar cost averaged themselves to where they're not going to lose anything, even if they don't gain anything. Because really, in the end, it's not about getting rich or making money off of silver, the metal itself. It's about wealth preservation. And you're harder pressed to find it with silver than with gold, but silver is a wealth preservation device. It just takes longer and more patience in terms of buying and how you do it to be able to get to that point. And there are going to be wider gaps of time in between where you're not going to be able to realize any kind of wealth preservation. That's why I have moved to gold starting in 2017 to offset that balance, because gold is much more stable of a precious metal. And make no mistake, and I hear it in the comments, people say, well, Sal, you're always talking negative about silver. No, I love silver. I have a video about that very topic, and also have a video about why I don't hate silver. I just understand it better now. And I don't need, silver is one of those metals that sells itself through the course of history during a long term. And so that when you hold it, and no matter what form you have it, you know you're protected by the intrinsic value of the metal that are contained therein, whether it be a poured 100-gram bar, such as you see here, that have a slightly more premium because they're poured or what have you, that you buy it, you hold it, you enjoy it. But in the end, something like this, Silver Eagles, highly liquid, well, you can take those things and you can exchange them for cash money. And there you go. And that's what you do in the long run at the end of your stacking period, unless you pass them down to the next generation within your family or friends and the like. That's what it's about. And it's about preserving your wealth. And silver is a unique metal for sure, for all of its uses. It has a duality to it. Its nature as a commodity is quite powerful. It is more powerful these days, and I think that's what's happening on these Reddit forums here. And people are driving up based off of what they feel it's an undervalued thing. But I think a lot of these people don't know anything about silver at all when they're putting their money into it. They're just going based off social media postings, and when they see stuff like this happen, oh, we drove it up to $27, it's up $2 or whatever. Well, that's not much compared to what they did with GameStop. So when they see that silver's not going to have the kind of returns that GameStop is having, and by the way, again, GameStop is essentially a company that is on its way out because more and more games are being downloaded online. You can go to Steam and download games instantaneously. For the most part, well, you got to wait for the download. It's much more convenient to do it that way. Less and less people are buying hard copies of games, and so when they see that's what's happening, it's moving away from the physical for gaming. It's the opposite case with silver. The real value of the silver is in the physical silver. That's right, such as you hear right there. That's physical silver. Physical silver is something that can never be replaced by an electronic mode. It's just a representation of something that will never be tested and cashed out because of the very nature of what an ETF is, SLV. But the real stuff is really where it's at. And if these people were really serious about driving the silver price up, well, these young snipper whappers, as I call them, well, they can buy themselves a couple of bars, some coins, and get some silver in the physical in their hands. That's the way you do it. That's right. So there you have it. And so let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. For a second day, the Reddit community is driving the prices up for a second day, but it's all just a show, in my opinion. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I would like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for taking the time to watch this video, and encourage you to please rate, please share, please hit that little thumbs up button. Well, the thumbs up button is a like button. That's how you rate it. But also the little bell. That little bell notification, sometimes it doesn't work, but it's getting better at working. And the more of you that hit that button, that notification bell, it does help the metrics and the algorithm. The more people will get notifications that have pressed it that haven't been getting them in the past. So I encourage you to do that. And I hope you enjoy. Like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all. Have a great day and subscribe.